Hello everyone, Ken
Hi.
Hayashi here, the Samurai Wizard, and again I have a special guest with me today, Shara Sandwell
Hello.
from Beauview Ranch,
Hello.
the owner of Beauview Ranch, among other things that she has, the owner of Escondido Grapevine, to nonprofit charities, among a bunch of other stuff. So we will definitely talk about that, but today we are going to be talking about serendipity.
Oh.
Okay, serendipitous. You know, they go, oh, this was serendipitous. If you don't know what that is, here's the definition right here, the Webster Dictionary definition. But they say when this comes to serendipitous is when you happen to have this chance meeting.
Oh.
A chance meeting. And it could be that you happen to run into an old friend that you haven't seen in 10 years or something like that at a certain event. Or maybe you ran into your a person by chance and it becomes a partner, whether it's a business partner or a lifelong friend or something else, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the reason was because when we did meet, it was a chance meeting.
Very chance meeting.
Very chance meeting.
Yeah.
You're in San Diego County.
Yes.
San Diego County in a city called San Marcos.
Yes.
Right? And I live in Los Angeles. Right? So I wasn't supposed to be here one day in San Marcos. I used to teach martial arts here at a local karate school called, actually it's not a small karate school, it's a phenomenal karate school.
It's amazing.
Award-winning karate school called the International Institute of Martial Arts, right there on Mission Road here in San Marcos. Just out of the blue, I haven't been teaching, since I moved up in LA, I hadn't been teaching there in years, but I used to teach there, the kids, martial art classes, and sparring, fighting classes. Well, I thought, okay, this is the weekend, I could be doing some work, but I went, you know what, I'd like to just teach some karate classes, and I drove down from LA down to San Marcos, and decided to just teach karate classes for about 2.5 hours to a bunch of kids, which is I used to do that as a volunteer, and I went, I'm just going to volunteer, teach karate classes to a bunch of kids, fighting classes, little kids, a little bit bigger kids, and eventually all the black belts, teenage kids, right? That's what I was doing.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I had
Impressive.
Thank you. I had went to go visit my Shihan's home just up the street, and I was driving, I was going, okay, no problem, I'm gonna now go home to LA. That was what I was going through at that time. There was no reason for me to continue to stay here in San Diego. I was gonna go back up to home in LA with my family. Right at that moment, I happened to see a taco truck. That was taco truck. So I'm gonna
Red taco
a
truck.
red taco truck. So as I'm telling you this story, all the viewers are here. Number one, subscribe to the channel. See the other.
Please.
Yeah, subscribe to the channel. Watch the other interviews that I will be doing with Shara here, and the amazing stories that she has about her ranch, about this miracle water that's here, and all the studies that are being done. But this story is about being serendipitous. You know, the chance meeting. So if you're watching this and you thought, wow, I had this chance meeting with this one person and now we're lifelong friends or business partners or something else happened, watch this story. Tune in onto that and definitely write your story of whatever happened on the comment section. Okay, I'd love to hear it. I'm going to read it. I'll definitely share you those stories.
Thank you.
But this is just our story of how we happened to meet. We didn't go to a business meeting, or we didn't meet at a conference. I was just driving home, on the way home, and I was actually miraculously right around that time, I was studying about the studies of Dr. Emoto and the things about water and how it affects the body and everything. I was studying that through lectures, actually through Gaia.com. Gaia.com. David Wilcox was who I was studying, among other lectures I was studying. I'm very fascinated by this subject.
Wow.
So as I'm driving down this kind of very quiet road, see a random taco truck at a very small market, like one of these little, not a farmer's market, but
it's a little corner store where locals that don't have time to go to the big stores, just run to the market to pick up a little
Right.
something. Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you my story. Listen in. It's not that poppy story, but you know, just listen in that story. I am driving. I see a taco truck. I pull over. I go, oh, there's a tacos there. I walk up to the truck and I say, are you guys open? And they said, oh no, we're gonna be open in about 10 minutes. And I looked and go, wow, it's gonna take about 10 or 20 minutes. And I knew, well, there's plenty of wonderful taco restaurants. And,
Lots of
yeah,
restaurants.
just down the street. Yeah,
Just
bunch of them.
all down that road and all around, yeah.
No problem. So I'm got back in my car. I guess I couldn't wait 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. So got in my car, drove away. No problem. I ate at Alex Taco, any of these wonderful places before. And something told me I wanted to go to that taco truck. So I got in my car. I was driving away. I already drove away, and I made a U-turn, and I came back. Okay. So I came back, went to the taco truck, waited a little bit. There was a young boy, gentleman, Emilio, yeah,
Emilio.
that was there, and he was taking the order. Very young, smart kid, and I was talking to this kid, admiring how well he spoke, how much he was smiling and enthusiastic about his brother. That was his brother, taco truck. And I was just talking with them, eating the taco, and that's when. And at any time, please chime in on the story. What happened at that point?
What happened at that point was, well, I think I got to the market before you, while you were probably turning around and coming back.
Right, okay.
Okay, so I was working around Bellevue Ranch, just tending to the horses and my chores, and I was expecting my partner with the newspaper, the Grapevine, to come over, and we were going to hang out and talk about business and work, and suddenly I was like, found myself like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it other than all of a sudden I'm like, I need to go somewhere. I went in the house and got my car keys and didn't know where I was going really, but I was like, I need to go. And this was really right before Dean was supposed to be arriving shortly. And I'm like, what do I don't really need to go anywhere, but I need to go somewhere. So I went and got my keys, thought, well, I don't know where I'm going. Maybe I should take my dog with me. So I went and got my Chihuahua, Angel, and I carried her. I thought, well, maybe I need to take her someplace. So I go, come with me, because I'm not sure where I'm going. And so I just sort of like, kind of a little inside prayer, like, I don't know where I'm going. Will you please, guide me? Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. So I got to go out my gate, and I was like, should I go left that way, or should I go right? And I was like, I'll go right. So I'm driving down to the corner, and I'm like, okay, I'm going this direction. What's this direction? The only thing that direction that isn't far away was the little market.
I see.
So I thought, well, I'll just guess I'm going to the market, because I knew I needed to be back at the ranch. So I drove into the market, and there was this red taco truck that I had been seeing parked at the market, because I always drive past it to go to the feed store,
right.
Deer Springs feed store, or go to my friends in Fallbrook, which is out the 15 north. So I thought, well, I'm not going to Fallbrook, and I'm not going too far, so it must be the market. So I pull in, and normally I park to the right of the market where there's a flower stand on the other side, but there happened to be one spot open, only one spot open, and it was right in front of the red taco truck.
I see.
So I pulled in. I thought, this is weird, I never park in this spot, it's never open. And I got out of the car, went in the market, and I'm walking around going, what am I getting in here? It's kind of just strolling through going, I don't need any of this. So finally I was kind of embarrassed that I'm walking around the market because I, will run there if I need something quickly.
And you didn't need anything.
I didn't need anything, so I thought I can't spend this much time in the market
and
for no reason.
And walk out and not have bought anything.
Right. So I went over and they always have the best farm fresh eggs. So I thought I'll pick up a dozen eggs so I don't look like I'm just doing something weird. Which I was. I really didn't know why I was there. So I paid
Walking around with your chihuahua?
No, she was in the car.
Oh, she was in the car. Okay.
She was in the car.
Okay.
Then I went, okay, I got the eggs. I walk out and I walked out and you were talking to Armelio.
Mm-hmm.
And you were very ecstatic about this young man, and he looked very enthusiastic about the conversation, and I'm still trying to figure out, why did I come? I didn't need eggs. So I'm like, I'd seen this red truck there over months off and on, so I thought...
And you don't eat tacos, is that...
Well, not normally. Right. I mean, I wasn't going out to eat.
Right.
I wasn't going to get dinner or anything. So I asked them, Kenshin and the young man, I said, how's the food here? Because you were eating a taco or something. So how's the food here? And you were like, oh, the food's great, the tacos. So I thought, I'll look at the menu. There was only a couple items on that menu. And the bottom one, it was like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 at the most items. And it said nachos. So I thought, maybe I was led down here because the week prior, when Dean and I had gotten together, he had mentioned how maybe next time we got together we could make some nachos. And I thought, oh, they sell nachos. That's probably why I'm being led down here.
Okay.
So I said, I'll take an order of nachos. While I was waiting for the nachos to be made, I got in on the conversation.
Right. We were talking because you were fascinated because you help children. You've done writing classes. You love children. I love children. Teaching classes, karate classes. She teaches writing classes, and we're waiting for our order, and you were waiting for your order.
Yeah.
We started speaking and we're conversing, and it's like, oh, okay. One of the questions you were asking was, I did share with her that I have children of my own. I think the age thing kind of came up, like, how old are you, or something like that, and then you asked, how do I stay? A lot of people think, oh, kind of look a little youthful. Some people kind of mentioned that.
I don't think we were talking about that at first.
Well, whatever it was.
At first, we talked a lot about Armelio, and you were showing him how he could make these blogs or something.
Which my kids do, right?
Yeah, so I was noticing that you knew all about that, and I thought, that's really interesting.
Right.
And I don't know, I asked if you were from around here.
Right. Oh, that's right. You did ask that. So and I said, oh no, I'm
That's
actually...
how it started.
We
started talking about, you said, no, but I was here, taught a class.
I taught a karate class.
And then you went to your Sensei's.
Yeah.
And I said, you mean the studio, the karate studio on Mission?
Which is interesting. I meet a woman, and she goes, oh, you're teaching at a karate studio on Mission. Now, there's plenty of karate schools around here.
Quite a few, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened?
And he says, yeah. And I said, I actually went there for classes after I had a severe injury.
I see.
Where I was crushed.
Right.
And it was a little too advanced to, a little...
You didn't even get into that much details. I think you
Okay.
shared with me later that was going on. But you knew the instructor, Shihan Jeff Brown. You knew him. You knew Sensei Judy Nicklin.
Yes.
Right? Both instructors.
Amazing,
phenomenal instructors.
Phenomenal instructors.
Helped thousands of children create... countless. I've trained 50 world karate champions. I can't imagine how many world karate championship titles they've helped coach and train. It's got to be over 200-300. I mean, it's ridiculous how many that they've trained over.
And that I went there is kind of funny because It's way over my
Right.
abilities.
It's a real fighting school.
It's a fighting school, and I'm going there to try to heal my body after I had been crushed. And naturally, with no surgery or medication, I had an incredible experience where all my bones were back in place, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go there, and they had a self-defense class, and I'm going to do the exercises and strengthen my newly put back together bones.
It's a little rough school. They train Marines there.
Rough.
Yeah,
and
they train hardcore fighters
I
there.
started feeling like I was getting a little more hurt than I was recovering.
Right.
So I admired that, he taught there, and knew Sensei Jeff and Judy, who I admired very much.
Right.
So I was like, wow,
you
look great. What's your secret?
So that's how it happened. Yeah. Yo, you look great. What's your secret? But that's another coincidence thing, which was like, oh, okay. We happen to, I used to teach there, and it was a long time ago when I used to teach there. It was almost 10 years ago when I was
and I was going there, in the last 5 years.
Right.
Last 4.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was that. Then you said, oh, you look great. What's your secret?
Or how do you, what would you suggest?
Well,
because that's too hard for me to do.
Right. So,
it's too difficult for me to do that. And, I'm really sensitive in my body to too much activity. And I think you might have suggested yoga.
Yeah.
And I said I did join a Bikram's yoga class, which helped me a lot.
Right.
So
the things I could have said, there was things we're going to share with you. What I did say, I could have said, well, you should, join yoga, join a gym, take a sauna, make sure you eat lots of fresh vegetables and fruit. I could have said numerous different things based on who I'm speaking with. Myself, I've owned also a juice smoothie bar health center in San Marcos. Of course, this is almost 13 years ago.
Which now I'm drinking one of your
concoctions, right.
Which is all from my ranch.
All from your ranch, and with her amazing water. So that I could have said any of that stuff, but I didn't know anything about this woman, Shara. In fact, she barely was telling me her name. I don't think I even said your name yet, or something like that. And I had suggested a couple of things. What did I say? Do you remember?
Well, first of all, he goes, do you have access to good water? I'm just standing there like, okay, yeah. I go, yeah, I have good water. I have access to good water.
Okay.
Because he doesn't know me at all. I thought that was kind of funny about, but I didn't elaborate.
You didn't elaborate. I just
said, yeah.
Right. And then what was the second thing I said?
Then he said, what about plants, like nature? Do you have access to that? And I'm thinking about the ranch here. I'm like, yeah, I have plants. 10 acres of ginormous, one of each of the native California trees on my property that are in the fullest form imaginable, along with every other type of plant and flower and vegetable and fruits and roses. And so I'm like, but I didn't elaborate. I just said, yeah. So he's thinking maybe I have a couple house plants in my apartment or something.
And then third thing I said,
what about animals? I'm like, yes. I didn't elaborate on that either, but I have rescued over 1,000 horses in 20 years.
Wow.
I have horses, piglets, goats, chickens, and all the nature that lives on this 10-acre knoll that is truly home to a lot of wonderful creatures. But I downplayed it. I just said, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we were talking some more, and it was like, oh, this is great. And then you had actually said, and she always has events here and stuff, goes, hey, why don't you check out, the ranch?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what she meant by ranch, because I haven't ever been on a ranch before. So I was like,
why don't you come visit Bovey Ranch? I thought I'd love to give you the tour.
Tour, right?
Yeah, I saw how great you were with the young man that you were encouraging, and I definitely have respect for anyone that teaches at that studio on mission. What's the name of that studio?
IIMA, or International Institute of Martial Arts.
Yeah,
Phenomenal school.
it's a phenomenal.
Yeah. Phenomenal school. My children actually, I have two of my oldest daughters obtained their black belt white stripe at that school as well, and my children 7-time world karate champions, utilizing their system. Great system, phenomenal system.
Amazing.
So, anyways, that's what happened. You gave me a tour of your ranch without saying anything. Then I'm looking around, going, oh my gosh, right? So you have the water, you have the plants, you have the animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And me having to have had and own and operate my own smoothie, fresh juice bar, fresh salads, vegan wraps, my own health kind of center. It was a retail location, and having even created some smoothies that are right now nationwide, Samazan Acai smoothie. I had created that. I was looking around going, oh my gosh, you have all these wonderful fruits and this miracle water. And I had started making you some smoothies, right? That's what I was doing, right? Which was good. And then she was giving me a tour of the place. As we got to know each other a little bit, and I was fascinated with all the things about your ley lines and what's been going on with the ranch, the miracles that are happening here on this ranch, the spiritual leaders that she has doing events here. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So now we're starting to share each other's life of previous experiences from before. I, as an instructor, big into health and wellness and healing my own children. That's what I was doing. Healing my own body. Fascinating with this. Of course, I also started sharing with you my personal life of this performance, and I'll just show you a real quick clip of it, of this performance of when I was a teenager. I had shown this performance right here. And you shared with me something after that about this performance.
About, yeah.
That one.
Oh, that I had the dream?
Yeah.
A week prior to meeting? Yeah, is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Yeah, I did. I had this dream that when I woke up, I was like, what? How come I had a magic dream? Like spinning and, it was all about magic.
You had that dream? Okay.
Yeah,
this is not staged. This is.
I was very like, where did that dream come from? I've never, it was a very unusual dream that I had about magic and the spinning around, and it's like it was so unusual that when I got up that morning I was perplexed by it and wondering, where did that come from? Am I subconscious, or I still am a little curious.
That was before
I met you,
right? About a week before.
About a week, maybe 5-6 days. Within a week.
Within a week. Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Right now, start to formulate some thoughts. Like, what's going on here, right? What's going on here? Think of your chance meetings. I'm sure you have one. You thought of somebody, all of a sudden the phone rings, you pick up the phone and goes, oh, just thinking about you, something like that. Everyone's probably, everyone has that experience. Okay, and make sure you type those down. I want to hear those experiences. So you had that dream. It was a week before, a couple days before?
Within a week.
Within a week. You actually
I would say 5 or 6 days, so within a week. It wasn't 2 days, it was within a week.
Within a week. And I remember you immediately told me, as I showed you the video, it goes, I saw this video in a dream.
I said I had this dream.
You had that.
I didn't see the exact video, but the stuff that I was seeing with the magic and all that, it right away connected in my brain the dream that I had.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where it starts getting fascinating, and stick around. Just stick around. Okay. So the second part is, many of you guys know, I, as the Samurai Wizard, I had a lecture series that was out there called Was Hayashi the Real Harry channel. And on there it's called Ken Hayashi and the Magic Academy, which is my daughter's book, and it's an hour and 40 thank you, an hour and 40
Love
minutes.
That book. It's great.
So an hour and 40-minute lecture, like a documentary that I had created about 2 years ago. to support the book of my daughter, okay? Because it's not a fantasy book, it's actually based on true events. And this lecture basically confirms everything that she's saying in the book. It's not just a fantasy like a Percy Jackson or a Harry Potter or any of these stories, these fantastic stories, but you know, it's with someone's imagination. So that's what I shared with you. And by then, I had already left back up to LA, and I sent you that video.
Yes, he sent me numerous videos, one after another, and the more I watched, the more that I was talking to you and getting to know you and seeing and hearing about your life, the more I realized that those videos you were making showing the comparisons to the story of Harry Potter had to be more than a coincidence.
It was more of a coincidence.
Yeah, and I don't believe in coincidences, by the way. That's not how I live my life, and I always say there is no coincidences. So it was very, very, just too much the same.
Right.
I thought, as a matter of fact, I thought, oh, he's showing me this because obviously the author of Harry Potter knows him and actually got his story and made it into fiction. That's what I thought, not knowing anything.
Not knowing anything,
yeah.
Right. And it really was to promote my daughter's book and just showing facts behind her book. Otherwise, it seems like another fantasy story, another kid's fantasy story. And that's why I had created. But the funny thing that you also said at the end was you said, I've seen that movie before. Is that what you said?
Probably.
No, you said that. You said you've seen this movie before, the last hour and 40-minute movie. And then then my skeptical mind came in. I said, Shara, do you watch YouTube videos?
No,
You don't just watch YouTube videos?
No, if I'm interested in a subject, I can go onto YouTube, and I watch a lot with my son.
Right, but you're not watching, it wasn't a blockbuster movie or anything. It's just a lecture to support my daughter's book. So it's a very small group of people would have seen it, if anyone at all, but it didn't go viral or anything like that. So I said, you didn't watch this movie, but you thought you did.
I thought I did.
You thought you did?
Yeah.
Okay, you believe that you actually saw it before.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that if I didn't.
And then I go, oh, that means you didn't see this movie, but you saw it in your mind.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. So that was one. That's another one. Then I also shared with her that I happened to go. I used to live here 13 years ago. I actually frequented this one restaurant. And
oh yeah, that's another where our paths cross.
I happened to cross. Now, I never met you. I never saw you at that time. But could you describe what you saw?
Oh well, let's see. So that was about 13 years ago, right? So I was here at the ranch, working a lot. I had a lot of horses, a lot of children coming, a lot of things to do. And a friend of mine who's a veterinarian frequently would ask me, we would talk about animals, and we had been previously neighbors, and would invite me to come to this particular restaurant. What was it called? Tuscany in La Costa,
right.
Which is what, 20 minutes from here? 15?
Yeah, 20 minutes from here. It's right by the Four Seasons, right in the middle of all these great resorts.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful place, and normally I wouldn't go because I'm here working with animals and kids and in my jeans and my cowboy hat and working hard on the ranch. But this particular day that I was invited to come down to Tuscany, I went, just seemed to work out, and I wanted to go, and I got ready and flew down there and met my couple of friends that had a table, and in walks you.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people there. How did you
There
recognize?
wasn't a whole lot of people there either. It wasn't like a packed house and things were split. There weren't that many people in there at that time of the day. It was still daytime.
Right.
And it's a beautiful place. The white tablecloths and the candle, everything's beautiful, and I was just like, with my friend and his associate, and then you walked in, and I was like, you caught my attention. What, you had long purple hair?
Yes, I had long
purple hair, really long, and
I had chains on my arms. And
yeah, very
slash jeans. I didn't look like this. How about that?
Very unusual, but not that unusual. I had been in the music business since I was 15 years old, and my sons toured, and we know most of the most famous rock and roll and metal artists on the planet.
Right.
So, it didn't strike me as odd, but I did, for some reason, in my mind, I was like, I wonder if he's into music. That was my first thought, and I wonder what band. And then I was like, I don't think he's into music. I think he's into theater or some type of arts. But yeah, so it just caught my attention. So I flashed back on that after getting to know you, when you were talking about how you brought your daughters there and would go in there, and how people would think it was weird. You had these beautiful little children, and with your look that you were into your attire that you were into at the time. And I was listening to it, and then I went, I went to that restaurant. I only like a couple of times in all the years that I've been in San Diego, and I saw you walk in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I told you that. I saw you walk in, and I actually, thought about it. What band is he? But I wonder if he's a singer, guitar player. No, he's. I kind of, I don't know. I assessed the situation. I really didn't understand it that I was gonna meet him again.
13 years later. 13 years, and Shara had actually explained to me and described it in much more detail than right now, but described it. I go, yeah, that was me. And it's not like I was like, I'm there every happy hour. I was just there for lunch, and I wasn't with my children. And when she described me, I go, yeah, that's me. That's not like you mistaken somebody that looks like me.
So I'm just now observing this interview that we're doing, or the video we're doing. So it's numerous times I went to the same studio, at the restaurant, joined the same place that you taught at, and then meet you at the market on that very unusual day of why I was going to the market. And then it was
finally
kind of ironic when you think about it.
Finally, the Twilight Zone kind of song comes in right now, but finally you had shared with me something that not only was it 13 years ago, you had shared with me something when you were like 9 or 10.
Oh, come on. We're not going to talk about that right now. That's another story.
That's a whole other Oprah.
For another time.
Another time. Okay, not a problem.
Don't surprise me.
Don't surprise that. Okay, not a problem. So let's just stop it right there. Now, many of you are watching this video, and we all have different beliefs, whether it's a form of spirituality, religion, all this stuff. And you are a Christian. She's Christian. Okay. And I've studied many religions, and it's because I have a fascination with them. I love studying different cultures and different religions and languages. And I've studied in England. I studied in Japan. So my mind's always open and study different modalities. And as you know, I'm also, one of my AKA is known as the Samurai Wizard, right? Wizarding world, right? And she's a devoted Christian. So go ahead and put your comments of any experience that you have had about this serendipitous type of experience that you have had. Right?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, and we'd love to share your story as well. Maybe we could do an interview with you.
At Bellevue Ranch.
That would be interesting. Yeah. But on the next video, I'd like to kind of discuss on why that occurred in our both types of philosophies. Or her being a devoted Christian and what she has experienced right before that. That's just all the facts, okay? But there are some metaphysical things that had occurred that led up to that. And my explanation as a samurai wizard of my explanation of why that occurred. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed, watch the next video.
Get interesting.
On serendipitous stories here, and we want to read your comments and your stories. Okay.
Yes.
As
the beat goes on.
As the beat goes on. I am sharing a story. Obviously, subscribe to also know the miracles that are happening here on Boveview Ranch. And if you're a spiritual leader yourself, consider, hey, let's work together. That'll be one thing.
Well, yeah, whatever your modality of love and expertise is, we'd love to meet you and hear about what you do and what you're offering the world that they haven't maybe know about yet.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.